Well, ladies and gentlemen, listen, I know I've been saying I don't want to do any rants. I just kind of want to chill and make content that I want to make. But the news is finding me somehow. So I feel like I need to make sure y'all are aware of what's going on in the Call of Duty landscape. And at the end of the day, I really do like talking about Call of Duty. So I don't really mind doing this, to be honest with you. And there was a lot of positive feedback for the last video with the Call of Duty Goes to Hope situation. And I guess we're going to continue that conversation today. I actually planned on taking today off. We actually posted another video on T-Dawg Plays. I played Resident Evil. I was like, hey, I'm going to post that over there. Make sure you go watch it, by the way. And I'm just going to take the day off and chill. There'll be another Call of Duty video tomorrow. And we'll just kind of take the day off, hang out, walk. We were walking with the wife. We grabbed dinner. It's the whole thing. We're chilling. About to watch Survivor 5 minutes ago. And I get a random DM, a random message. And it's not just anybody sending me the DM. It's actually Call of Duty, the official Call of Duty account. And they actually responded in my last YouTube video. So, like I said, quick summary for yesterday's video. It's about Ghost of Hope getting shut down and, you know, pretty much them kind of saying, like, we're going after leakers and stuff like this. And I kind of just was making a pitch for, you know, the leaking was kind of exciting sometimes, and it was sometimes positive, and you can't have like both ways. You know, you can't have it when it's going good, and then when Call of Duty's down bad, you can't just like all of a sudden not be a fan of it, but you were a fan of it when everything was going well. It's kind of what was my pitch for that. And on top of that, one of the big points that I made was I think Call of Duty has to be more communicative. Is that the word I'm looking for? They have to be more involved with the community. They need to feel like they're an actual, just something that seems real. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like Call of Duty in the last couple years has turned into this, I don't know if you guys ever watched The Handmaid's Tales, but there was like this board of people in the show, and it was like pitch black. You couldn't see their faces, and you would just hear them go, "We are not doing that." And it's like, it felt very just disingenuous. Is that the word I'm looking for too? I'm throwing around these big words here, so if I'm using them wrong, let me know. But you know, in that video yesterday, I'm like, you guys got to feel, you got to be more real in today's world. The Mr. Beast editing and the fakeness of all that is gone. It's out. People want real. And so I really encourage them. And I had a conversation with Call of Duty at Major One, a few people that work at Call of Duty. And I said, you guys got to be more active. Like, we are begging you for information. And we've talked about this too. Treyarch has been better at this year. You know, Matt has come out and done these videos on Twitter, and I think they've been awesome. They've shown personality. You know, the one question was like, hey, are you bringing Shipment into Black Ops? And he was like, that's the wrong studio. That's the wrong game. That's the kind of stuff that I'm talking about. So anyway, I'm sitting here. We're about to watch Survivor, and here comes a statement from Call of Duty. And I'm just going to read it for you word for word, and we can kind of go over it and go over everything that I have to say about it. But from the official Call of Duty account, we're here. We're listening, and we're going to keep talking to the community. The team is not trying to chase down everything. I think they're involving leaks there, I guess. We know rumors are part of the gaming culture, along with a healthy online speculation. But when leaks turn into viral misinformation, it undermines our developers and also distorts player expectations of the games we're making. When that happens, we're going to step in and set the record straight. So let me start off with the bottom half of this with the leaks thing. And I said it yesterday. I actually do agree with Call of Duty in this realm. Okay, if the Zombies video, you know, the leaks were happening and Zombies was supposed to get its own official game, and if that's nowhere in the cards and no one's talking about it, and then it never happens, but people see the leaks and they think it's going to happen, it's going to make Call of Duty look even worse. So for that, I totally get it. And another example of that is, you know, I went back to the Call of Duty Zombies in World at War. Another example was Zombies. When you beat the campaign back in the day, you got this random new mode that you had no idea what it was. And it was the most shocking, surprising thing. And I still think about it to this day because of how shocking it was. And I'm like, this is awesome. And I guess in today's world, that would have been leaked. That would have been spoiled. The people would have data mined the campaign. And then it's like, okay, well, that's spoiler. Now you're expecting it. And it wouldn't have had that impact. So getting rid of that kind of stuff, I'm good for that. And I got to be honest with you too. I hear what they're saying with, undermining developers. I couldn't imagine working on a product for 2 or 3 years for it to get leaked a week prior or 2 weeks prior or 6 months prior. And maybe it's not what you thought it was going to be, or maybe it's getting ragged. And then you're like, holy crap, this isn't even what we were putting out. And then it gets destroyed. And then it comes out and it gets even more destroyed. It's almost like that High Guard situation where it's a little bit different, but like those people were working on the game and it was dead in 3 weeks. And I'm not saying that's been Call of Duty, but it's like kind of that example. Like I can't imagine working on something like that and then it just gets destroyed. And so I get it from that realm. And I also get a little bit of the leaks. And I'm glad that they said this. Our team is not trying to chase down everything, because rumors, like they said, are a part of gaming. Like it's cool to speculate. I remember when Star Wars came back into theaters and back in 2015 with The Force Awakens. And I remember seeing leaks here and leaks there and the speculation and the hype that it brought. And I think in that realm, sometimes that stuff can actually help your product. And that's why I go back to when they were they weren't like pushing leaks. Call of Duty was never pushing leaks, but they were accepting it because Call of Duty was in such a good state. Like MW19 was popping, Cold War was popping. And then when Vanguard was starting to happen, all these leaks were surfacing and they were kind of like egging people on, like, hey, check these out, And so again, when it was going well and when the hype is the train is rolling, you just can't have it both ways is kind of what I was saying. So I understand their perspective here. And I also understand that I feel like leaking sometimes creates this hype. And I will stand by what I said yesterday. I feel like the only kind of momentum we were kind of having in the Call of Duty landscape was leaks. It was like, okay, we got something to be excited for, because right now we're not really excited for the state the game's going right now. We don't really like the back-to-backs. We don't like the way the collabs are happening. We don't feel like the movement is the one, what we want. And so the leaks were getting us excited, whether it was something in, with MW4, whether it was something with zombies. And I know you have to shut these down if needed, but like that was the positive side of Call of Duty. So we have to kind of pick and choose, and I see what they were saying. So with all that to say, I do enjoy the leaks. I'm not gonna lie. It's fun to speculate. It's fun to talk about it, and I think I understand from their side though. So I think the more rational person out there is like, okay, we get it. I don't want these developers that I've met at COD Next to feel like the morale is getting absolutely crushed because their game's leaked. And so this is where I go to my next point of conversation. And I really liked how they started this DM. And it says, we're here, we're listening, and we're going to keep talking to the community. And I hope that they do. Just being upfront with y'all, the fact that they're replying to me on Twitter, they're in my DMs or in my YouTube comments. Listen, you may call me a fanboy. You can call me whatever you want. You call me the COD is back guy. You call me the shill, whatever. I see this as encouraging. That's the only way that I can see it. Now, like a lot of people were commenting down below my tweet, and you can make sure you follow me on Twitter and go check that out. I posted like an hour ago. If these, Charlie Intel, as you guys mostly know, he said this, they're talking a lot here. But if the leak of MW4 being like MW2 ends up being anywhere close to true, this is going to look super bad. So my only hope with this is that maybe hope was so off in the MW4 leak that it's a different game, or maybe he was right. And maybe they are now seeing, holy crap, there's a lot of negative press around this game. We can't have any more negative press with Call of Duty. we might need to start listening to the community a little bit more. Either way, I feel like we're the ones winning. Am I wrong? You know what I mean? Like, if Hope is wrong, it is an MW2 part 2, then we win. And if they did, see that all these leaks were causing this big division and saying they're done with Call of Duty, and they're now changing those things, we win. We win. I think that's what we've been wanting as players for a long time. Am I wrong? So I'm hoping that's the situation that's going to happen here. All these rumors and stuff like that are actually going to make the product actually be good. I think we're all kind of itching for a new Call of Duty to be good and bring that fire back and bring the want to play the game back. And I'm really excited to see, I got a few comments under there that's like, this new era of Call of Duty listening is very welcomed, because I feel like, and I don't know if I said it yesterday's video, but Ted Timmons is a guy that was in charge of Warzone for a time period, or in charge of Raven Software. And he is now over on Fortnite. I think I did say this, but the amount of feedback that I see him navigating and replying to, and having that one person to be like, hey, this is the guy we need to reach out to if we have a concern. That is what Call of Duty is lacking. And whether they do that with somebody in particular, Call of Duty, if you're watching this video, I'd love to do it. I'll be a community manager. I'd do it for free. I love this stuff. Consider this as my application. I would love to hear feedback. I think a lot of people in my comments of this video too were like, hey, somebody commented, and it was one of the nicest things I've ever read in my entire life. One of the best people in the community they could rely on for community interaction and feedback. You're a genuine dude, and I love your content. Braxton, if you're watching this video, thank you. So I'm open to taking feedback and listening to community. And I know people have tried to do this in the past, but maybe we are entering a new era where Call of Duty actually has to listen. I know I don't want this to come off bad again, but Call of Duty's not in a good state. There's a lot of competition. There's a lot of games to play. They're dealing with competition for the first time in a long time, and their products also aren't the best to go alongside with it. So they might need to turn this new leaf where we actually have to listen. We actually have to put somebody out there. And again, doesn't have to be a person. Maybe it's just on the Call of Duty account, but maybe they're replying to people. And to me, it doesn't always have to be creators. It doesn't always have to be somebody like me that they're replying to. Reply to somebody that goes on Twitter once a week and tweets out, yo, Call of Duty, what's the issue with this? And they got 6 followers. So be it. Everybody should feel like they're being heard in this community. And I feel like they're finally getting it. Now, we'll only see, it's kind of the case of, I kind of go back to the anti-cheat thing. It's like, okay, you hear the same thing over and over and over again, and then it still has issues. You're like, okay, I don't think you're actually getting it. You're not actually applying what we all want. So all I can say is, from my perspective, when I talked to the people at Call of Duty, and they told me they were going to be more active on social media, all I've seen since that conversation was them being more active on social media. So if they keep doing it, it's only going to benefit us. That's all I can say. And I'm always hopeful for Call of Duty. Maybe it makes me an idiot. Maybe it makes me someone that just is oblivious, to the world. But I do feel like if Call of Duty is ever to dial in what's going on and really pick a lane and really pick who they want to. I tweeted this earlier today too. It's like, I don't know. I'm going to go on a little side tangent here real quick, but I had a guy that I worked with 5 years ago send me a text today, and I'll read this text real quick for you too. Hey, I'm watching your YouTube video from yesterday, and it's pretty spot on. I stopped playing Call of Duty when all the sliding, crazy, jumping stuff happened. I still play World War II a little bit, more slower pace for my old eyes. And I think that there's just an audience there. There's an audience from 20 years old to maybe 40 or 50 that want to love Call of Duty, that want to play Call of Duty every year. And they're just not getting served. And I think that they got to know that their community, I get that they're trying to get this, they're trying to establish a new generation to come up on Call of Duty, but take care of your community that's been around for 20 years and will continue to play your game. And then that's how it gets passed down. I've always said that. I got passed down Star Wars because my parents watched the originals, then they loved them. And then I watched the prequels and I love them. And one day I'll hopefully pass down Star Wars to somebody else because I love it. And so that's how Call of Duty is going to continue to feed the community and watch it develop and grow. We've hit this downhill trend, and it's time to turn it around. Okay, Call of Duty, it's time to start taking the feedback, being more communicative. Don't know if that's the word, and applying what people want. You know what I mean? Apply what people want. And again, if you got to shut down leaks to do it and you think it's false, I still think come out and say, hey, this is false and we're working on something, blah, 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 blah. So anyway, guys, again, this turned into a 16-minute rant. I said I wasn't going to rant anymore, but we're going to continue to do it. But let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you guys, Call of Duty obviously watches the videos, so put some comments down below of what you think is wrong, what you think needs to be done. How can we get this? How can we rewrite the ship here? We're headed for an iceberg, or we're close to the iceberg. We gotta veer right here or veer left. Also, real quick, one more time, if you guys haven't subscribed to T-Dawg Plays, we just put out a Resident Evil video just a couple hours ago. Would love if you watched it and gave me feedback on that as well. So anyway, thank you all for watching. I love Call of Duty, and I hope this thing can get back to what it was. Hopefully sooner rather than later. Okay, guys, we'll see you in the next rant, which I said I wasn't going to do anymore, but I kind of like these.